What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So, yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB or find me on X at Justice, the number 4, Just Us. That's JUSTICE, the number 4, JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
Black first and happy Friday, people. Today is Friday, August 16th, and I'm Eve. Welcome back to the listeners who are familiar with me. What's going on, Spirit Wonder and Taisha in the chat, and to everybody who might be listening to this later. What's going on? I hope you had a great week. I hope that you were productive, that your conversations were constructive, and that you're ready for an uncomfortable conversation, because tonight I'm going to probably sound slow, and it's going to be because I have to take extreme care for what I'm going to say tonight. It's never good to talk shit about the dead, right? So this is not that. I'm not talking shit about anybody who's died, but I do think that this person who might not be here anymore might be a good lesson to learn, or at least to take a look at and see if there's anything that we can get from this. So if it seems like I'm retarded tonight, it's probably just because I don't want to, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I do think that there's a conversation here. So without further ado, halt! Who goes there? Tonight, I don't know if you're familiar with the people on the screen, but we've got a mom and son, and then just some random miscellaneous people who are coming off of a boat to somewhere, places that might be accepting people off of boats, especially if they look like the people of the land but aren't of the land. Now, as a foreshadow, preemptive thought before we begin, I don't know who these people's people are. So if y'all know, then that would be great. You can let me know, and then we can actually have a deeper understanding of the things that we see coming from these people. But in the meantime, in between time, I have to look at the landscape, the time, where these people are, when they got here, and then what all is coming from that camp. So the mom and son on the screen. Actually, let's go here first, because I saw an interview on Seichi's YouTube channel, and he was interviewing Mr. Charleston White. I know. Not y'all's favorite person at all. Y'all love to hate the coon in the room, right? Or the spook who sat by the door, or at least the person you've identified as not the one. But then sometimes that person has something to say, and do we not listen to them because it's not our favorite person? Or do we do like how y'all tell me to do, eat the meat and spit out the bones, Eve? People are going to be people, and if people are people, then why can't we use what they've told us to help further an agenda? Because while my shows are not programs, anytime you turn on something that's going to be feeding you, it is kind of like a program. If you aren't using your own thoughts and you're allowing other people's thoughts to guide you, your behaviors, how you move, it's kind of like a program. So, well, right, Spirit Wonder, I feel you. If he's not your favorite person, that's cool. But in the same interview, I'm gonna have to agree with him. He talks a lot of shit, but he hasn't actually hurt anybody. There are other people with characters, actual people who are playing a character, who have hurt people. And I don't know that Charleston fits that bill, right? Like, he might put on, a coon cape, a coon costume, but I don't think he's like Jesse Lee Peterson. I don't. And I used to think Jesse Lee was putting on a costume too. Like, he just understands his role and he's just going to be the best at it, even though it's probably not how he feels when he goes home. But I don't know anymore. I think that might be how Jesse Lee is. And even though he says correct things sometimes, at the end of the day, it's coming from this like self-hate place. I don't think Jesse loves himself. Now, Charleston, I think that nigga loves himself. I think he loves himself a lot. And inside of that, Black people in America have already grown accustomed to putting themselves last, putting themselves on the back burner, and allowing other people to kind of run amok on us and around us. So I feel fence riders, they have their role. Dr. Short said that they need to get zapped with some lightning so that they can fall on the side that they need to fall on. Say it with your chest type shit. But without further ado, if you didn't see this interview on Say Cheese, that's cool. I clipped it for you so that you can take a gander at least what it was that I wanted to start the conversation with. Okay, here we go.
The apple don't fall too far from the tree, Miss Lady. You as a child is a reflection of your parents. That's why they say when you leave out of this house, nigga, you go do this, because you are a reflection of how you were raised. You are a reflection of your upbringing.
I asked her though. I said, if you could go back, is there anything you would have done different?
She said no. That's when I knew. That's when I knew she was a horrible mother.
All right, so that's where we're gonna start. Charleston said, "Blame the mama." Right? And okay, maybe y'all don't even know who we're talking about just yet. Breeze, go look at that interview. It's like the Shahrazad Ali hat, but I think it has a raccoon on it. It is insane. And like Spirit Wonder said, and he might not be Jesus or Moses or a prophet or anybody like that, right? But sometimes, let's just put it to you this way. You know how the broke authority likes to tell y'all that, you can't listen to the people who've lived their lives, people who have some life experience. You don't want to listen to the wino or the crackhead in the room. But I would say that if it's a wino or a crackhead, if they've made it to a pretty big age, then they might know some things. Because essentially you should not be able to be a crackhead for a long amount of time, right? Like the math ain't math in there. Hard drugs and hard usage means an early grave. But we've got people who've been crackheads for 40 years. Shit's insane. But yeah, so Foolio is was a rapper out of Florida. I want to say it was Jacksonville. He was murdered in June. And the reasons behind his death is insane to me. Now, you always hear about beefs, like you got the Kendrick and Drake beef, right? You got Nas and Jay-Z beef, right? You got all these beefs, and then sometimes people get hurt and sometimes people don't get hurt. Sometimes there are casualties and sometimes it's a lot of talk. This time, no, it was not a lot of talk as much as it was a lot of shots fired, and then people end up dead. And that's why I started this with, if I seem a little slow tonight with my words, it's because I don't want any heat. I would like niggas in America to learn from these experiences. If you have beef, maybe there is a time and a place to settle the beef, but if you're being disrespectful to a group of people, then how do the people tell you to stop doing that without showing you that you can't do that anymore? And I think that that's kind of where we are with Mr. Foolio. Let's see. So Charleston said, blame the mama. Now, why would we blame the mom? Well, I guess his first reason would have been because if she had the opportunity to go back and do it differently, would she? And her answer was no. And her answer was no in such a big way that I mean, I don't know. Even if you're the perfect parent, wouldn't you at least consider that, maybe you would have played the lottery that day. Maybe you had the winning numbers and you just didn't do it. Is there nothing that you would have gone back and done differently? I mean, I think about that all the time. What I would have done differently. Now, people will say that, well, as a mom, you can't start to say stuff like that because then, your children and your minis are attached to the decisions that you've made. And then if you weren't in that place at that time, then would they be here? And I'm like, I feel you. That's deep. But no, let's just talk about like the people that are here. And then would you have done anything different with them to arrive at a better outcome? And I think all parents should think about that. You shouldn't get stuck there because it's, kind of a fantasy land. But if the opportunity ever presented itself for you to do something different to better y'all's situation, maybe you would think about it. And then maybe it comes and maybe you get an opportunity to do something. But in real time, she said that no, she did everything she needed to do. And she's got a documentary coming out, Julio Foolio was shot and died on June 23rd. And then she took to Instagram to let people know that she's got a documentary coming out. Let me see if I can share this screen with you. I don't know if my children were shot, I don't know if I'd be on Instagram trying to show anything. Oh no, that's the wrong screen. 1 second. How about this one? All right, so this is Miss Sandrika's Mays. I'm sorry, Miss Sandrika's Parish Mays. They're out of Jacksonville, Florida. She is the mom of Julio Foolio, and she's good. I mean, as good as you can be with a son that's been murdered, but she didn't do anything wrong. And actually, according to her, if you look at how she's been posting since the incident, she told him a couple different times that she doesn't agree with what he's been doing. Actually, this is a direct quote from her. The story that only I can tell because I know the truths from the fakes. I think I'm the only mother that kept it real while most others know damn well what was going on with their own sons. This has been going on since 2014, 2015. I'm like, damn, that's like 10 years. 10 years of your son being involved in some weird stuff. And I know I haven't even gone into the weird stuff that he's into, but yeah, 10 years. And Breeze, that's an excellent question because Charleston goes into that. Look, that was an excellent interview. I'm not super familiar with Say Cheese's podcast style interview or platform or anything, but I did peep that interview with Charleston White, and I thought it was a good interview because no, his dad's not alive, Breeze. Actually, tragically, he was murdered, shot in the head twice by a person who just really bad guy, it seems like. And I don't know these people. I don't know who these people are. So y'all are gonna have to forgive me if they are of my lineage, your lineage, claim them, please, so we can put some appropriate attrition to the behavior. But from what it seems, that area of Florida has been infiltrated by people who are not from there, people who are off the boat. And while they might look like the niggas from there, they're not. In real time, losing your father at a young age, that's pretty heavy hitting, right? And actually, Charleston talks about that because y'all know as well as I know, it is almost impossible for a woman to raise a woman to rear a boy into being a man as much as boys who live to be a certain age turn into adult males. And then I guess if we want to get semantic-y about it, then we would have to say that, men is a classification for the males who do the things. Breeze, you're going to have to come with some evidence on Foolio being FBA, because him and him mama look Haitian to me. But that's just what I'm going off of looks. And that's why I say I don't know their people. And for what it's worth, like 5 years ago, y'all could Google this shit so easy. You could say, who is Celine Dion, right? And then you could be like, who is Celine Dion's parents? And no, I don't know why the fuck Celine Dion is the name that popped up in my head, but that's the one. Yes, Charles Jones. I saw that. He's the second, right? So Charles Jones the second of Charles Jones the first, who was murdered, shot in the head twice in Jacksonville. And then he's also been murdered, shot multiple times because of some things. And when I say some things, this is what I'm talking about, the rat beef. You can say some really disrespectful things when you're beefing with somebody and you can rap, right? You get very creative with the words, with the language, and man, you can make somebody want to hurt themselves, right? I mean, I've actually seen ciphers get violent because white people saying nigga, it just doesn't work with some people. And I've actually seen them get hands put on them for, using nigga in a rhyme, and the niggas around them don't like that shit too much. I don't know that I've seen a lot of violence from us when it comes to, like rap beefs, as much as, you might have some hurt feelings because of the things that might have been said, not like us. He called that nigga pedophile, right? And but it's okay. I mean, if there's gonna be some fighting words calling someone a child predator, that should be fighting words if it's not true, right? And I feel you, the names. Y'all heard about the social securities. Probably everybody online right now, social security is out there somewhere because it got hacked and dropped, right? So the names, well, Miss Sandrika Mays, her last name is Parrish. And I find that you can call yourself whatever you want. And if people amalgamate behind it, if they start to call you by that name, then not only are you a powerful son of a gun, but well, now you've been able to change your name. And okay, for what it's worth, his dad might be foundational Black American. He might be. Maybe that's why he got taken out. Y'all know that happens, right? You get a powerful little energy bubble happening, and the powers that be or something else comes around and tries to squash it. I've seen that happen a couple different times with people with just some really strange death occurrences happening around them. But here, let's go to, oh, I have a video I wanted to show you. It's right, no? Oh, is it this one? Yeah, okay, here it is. Is it sharing? Yeah, okay. Okay, so you couldn't hear any of the audio? Hold up. Wait a minute. Spirit, y'all couldn't hear the interview at all? Damn, okay, hold on. Close that. And that's insane because it played for me and then I muted myself, but let's see. In the meantime, in between time, I named this from Julio to Foolio because, well, when I heard Foolio, I thought they were saying Coolio, and I was like, Coolio died a couple years ago, right? So, but no, there's this other rapper named Foolio that I didn't even know about because I'm not into that scene. But damn it, if just hearing about what this boy was rapping about and then to hear about how he met this untimely demise it made me sad, kind of, for real, if you think about it. Maybe it doesn't make you sad, but it made me sad because it's like consequences aren't being taught at home. And then I guess that's why I resonated with what Charleston White was saying, because he was saying, well, it's the mom's fault. And if you look her up, you'll find out that she's a nurse or a home health nurse type of person. And she's done like classes and she helps people get their certification. She does paperwork and helps people with paperwork and stuff. I don't know if y'all remember that nursing scandal back a couple of years ago. Yeah, that's the interview, but I have like a 1-minute clip of the interview. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Here we go. All right, we should be able to see my screen. Now we should be able to go here.
Looking at like from like the beginning of the drill scene to now, it seemed like it do play a part in this shit. Like it amplified the shit for sure. Yeah. Especially when it be so many different hoods involved and clicked up and shit. It's like you tell it. Yeah, I get what you saying. Yeah. But motherfucker.
Okay, you can hear. All right, good, very good. Now let me get to the actual part of the interview.
I was all proud of my brother, you know. Shout out to you, shit, for pulling, you know what I'm saying, coming out this bitch, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we lit.
Let everybody know how to get over with you on social media.
My Instagram, Julio_Foolio, JULIO_FO.
All right, for sure. Keep on working, yeah.
Okay, that was dumb.
Did anybody else will listen to? Yeah.
So are there any other artists from Chicago you could bring up? It might be some funny shit, some hot shit, whatever. Just some shit that.
All right, hold on. I got a better one. Give me a second. Let's see. Which one is it? It is Explains Voodoo. Y'all are cool. Thanks for being I don't know why it didn't go to the page. This one. There it is.
Wish a nigga would.
Stop that shit. Oh my God. I hate the internet right now, you guys. It's not the right one. Oh shit. I'm sorry. I labeled this right, Julio to Foolio, because Foolio sounded like Julio. But did y'all know that Julio ran for damn vice president when he was alive back in 2020? He was on the ticket with a porn lady. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that. Found that out today, and I was like, "Whoa, that's kind of crazy." Okay, let's see if this is the one.
Or,
It's like a rituals.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you could be any religion and still practice voodoo.
I wouldn't say that, but something like that, yeah. Something like that.
So like with the rituals and shit, like, cause you know, I really, where I'm from, this shit ain't really common. So I really don't understand it. Like, what do motherfuckers be doing? Like, is it like spells and shit? Like the example type shit.
It be shit like you gotta go sleep in the open casket for like 5-6 days.
Yeah.
Shit, like it's like just dumb like shit you gotta go through. Like, okay, you'll get it. You want a bitch to be fucked up about you, take her hair, give it like, and she'll just, you know what I'm saying, just witchcraft some shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So have you seen like somebody do I don't know if you want to call it a spell or ritual, and then you actually see like it work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was the one. Cool. And where he got the voodoo from, if you do a little digging into Julio Foolio, you find out that he gets it from his grandmother. They don't say that it is his mom's mom or his dad's mom, but I think it's maybe his mom's mom. I think that what I've learned is that he was living with his grandma for a time because mom's at work. And then now we're back into Charleston because he says blame the mom. Well, if the mom's at work, how can we blame the mom? Well, now we go back to what Bree said. His dad's not there. Yeah, that's interesting too, because if you as a woman can't rear a boy to be a man as much as you can just guide him to adult masculinity the best way you can, right? I don't know what you would do other than try to find some mentors. But do you say that work is more important than finding a mentor for your son? Or do you just let life? You know, I feel like that's the question that we're going to be talking about tonight, talking around, because if we're being honest, everybody wants to be free, right? One of my mods all the way free, and knowing that we're not all the way free. I mean, it's this thought, right, that we want to be able to do the things. As a mom, you want to be able to be more than a mom. I'm not saying that I don't understand Mama Foolio, her dilemma of wanting to be herself and wanting to be an adequate female role model for her son. But you know, when you say things like you wouldn't do anything different, or that work was more important than, you know, a role model for your son, or that, you know, you were just going to let circumstances happen, come as they may, as long as he makes it to adulthood, then you've done your job. Because my parents aren't like that. And I don't think y'all's parents are like that. And I was listening to Charleston White, and his goddamn parents is not like that. Because even in real time, him and his brother got caught up on some damn murder charge, and his mom was like, no, we don't do that over here. Like, right? Let me not ask y'all to be honest, but I think I will. Have y'all ever stolen something from the convenience store, from some stupid place, some candy, some stupid shit? Your parents found out and they made you take it back? Has that ever happened for y'all? Because I know that that's happened for a few people in my story. Like, I could call them right now and talk about it if I wanted to. But maybe that's just anecdotal for Eve, you know, and I know I'm just Eve and my story isn't everybody's story, but I do find that sometimes there's a lot of connections between the stories, and it doesn't really matter where you're from on this land as much as if you've been dealing with the same shit that we've been dealing with, that I've been dealing with, my family's been dealing with, chances are there's going to be some connections. Dojo, welcome to the chat, and very interesting because you said Foolio was your current favorite rapper. That's insane to me because of the lyrics. How do you okay, dissing is cool, right? Dissing happens inside of raps. But like Spirit Wonder said, when the dissing turns into real life things, like going to the graveyard and rapping on top of people's graves, you know, I mean, I guess that would essentially be pissing on someone's grave. I mean, I know I talk a lot of shit, right? And I know that I've even said stuff about people who are not here anymore. Shout out to what's her name that just died recently? Mrs. She has leukemia, had leukemia. Nobody knew about it. Got experimented on. What the frick is her name? Me trying to be careful with my words. I'm not remembering other words. Let's see. Who just died? There we go. Mrs. Sheila Jackson Lee. She just died July 19th. And that bitch didn't know what a woman was. Or I'm sorry, she knew what a woman was, but she didn't feel comfortable saying that a woman is an adult human that can birth a baby and feed it. I don't understand what the complications are. I mean, you can even get more simple and say that an adult woman, female, is, you know, got the chromosomes that we have. And the men have the chromosomes that they have. But she said, I didn't. What? And Spirit Wonder, I'm not sure what you're talking about in the chat. Maybe you're talking to Dojo. With rappers all dissing rappers. And I guess that's true. All rappers don't diss other rappers. And Dojo, for honesty's sake, Foolio, his disses, did they only come after these people died? Because I would say that I've been talking shit about Miss Sheila Jackson Lee before she died. So it's, you know, I'm just being honest when I talk about how I feel about her after she dies. If you wait for someone to die to start talking shit, that's insane. I mean, maybe you feel safe, but isn't it even more insane if you know that these people are attached to other people who are still here? Especially if your beefs are, you know, gang related, to say the least. I don't know. This is why I guess maybe this is like young people music, and Eve is an old broad now, right? So I don't know. This might be a younger demographic in general, because I know my younger cousins, they troll a whole lot differently than we troll, you know, when we're trying to be, what's the word, opposition-y, right? But in real time, I find that having a little bit of tact, or knowing that there is a time and a place, that comes from your home training. And that's what Charleston's talking about. Like, this nigga ain't have no home training. But then she would say that she wasn't there to do it, but she was there. She wasn't there, but she was there. And I just want her to just be honest. Like, we can't grow as a melanated group in this country if people are just going to be shirking responsibility for the little seeds that they're planting out here in the world. I always talk to my students about how eventually they're going to be adults that I have to deal with, like actual adults who won't be listening to me because I'm the adult in the room, but people who will be able to do whatever the fuck they want to do because they're an adult now. And then you got niggas like the broke authority talking about why men don't want kids. if the men don't want children, it's probably because they came from some ain't shit mama who ain't give them the things that they need to get to want to replicate themselves into the future. I don't know any man that doesn't want to have another version of himself eventually. Even you, Dojo, I know you're not ready for kids now, but that's not an ultimate decision as much as when you find a person that you want to do that with, then you can start to have that conversation. But no, you got people like Foolio's mama saying that she wouldn't do nothing different and she gonna come out with a documentary because only she knows what was going on. And then niggas like the broke authority saying that men don't want children. And it's probably gonna be related to like resources or just stepfathering or just some sort of masculinity aspect that he doesn't really know about that was Googleable. No, this conversation that we're having over here is not Googleable. I mean, the information about the who and that's Googleable. But this shit that we're talking about over here, it might make you feel some kind of way, and I hope it does. Because that's the only way that change happens is when we feel like something's wrong. You can know something's wrong. I talked about it with Dr. Winters on Wednesday, the difference between knowing and believing. And in real time, people know a lot of shit and aren't doing shit. So miss me with the knowing. You can know till the cows come home. It's once you start to feel. That's when you start to do. And I feel like women like her are toxic and they're not being called out on it. And then when people like Charleston call them out on it, people say, oh, well, that's Charleston. Fuck that nigga. He's a broke clock. I mean, yeah, you say that about Candace Owens too, and I get it. She's kind of, Kuntress, and these people who are not for the community talking about us, I get it. But what about me? Can I say something about it? I'm for us. I want us to win. And the broke authority, look, Spirit of Wonder. I wonder if you ever thought about what that nigga's job was. If it doesn't include being a YouTube personality, then you're gonna have to go with the new moniker. TBA is no longer anything authority regarding Black as much as he can be the authority on brokenness. The Pookies of the world. And yeah, Dr. Winters is an elder you probably could talk to for hours. He's got, he's live with me on Wednesday. He's live by himself on Thursday. On Sunday, he's with our brother Yoshi Mod, and I think he's got a Patreon too. He's a very busy, older guy, and he knows a lot. I think that's a person we should be tapping into because he's studied the past. And as much as we don't like antiquated things, damn it if it's not the best indicator of the future. If you don't know what happened already, then you can't say that it's not happening again. You can't even say that you're not going to make it happen. Just the fact that you don't know what happened already means that you are lining yourself up to repeat some dumb shit, more than likely. And since we haven't actually solved the problem of racism, white supremacy, I'd say that there aren't enough people speaking about the past, learning about the past in order to help us navigate the present so that our future can look a little better. But I digress on that. And let's get back to Foolio because it's the takeover that concerns me. Rap music shouldn't be about all these disses, Dojo. Rap hadn't always been about dissing as much as it had been, in opposition to. And from there, I guess it just depends on what side of the fence you're on. Are you a person who can understand that fight music means that we're getting it out in a productive way? Or are you a person who can't hear these words and keep it there? You have to do something about the disrespect. We live in an internet time, right? People talk a lot of shit online and don't have to worry about the consequences of their words. But when you're a person like Foolio, I just wonder if when you're saying these things, and then you're getting shot at in real life, because this is not the first time he's been shot at. And the reason that I even showed the voodoo thing is because if you really believe in voodoo, then maybe you really feel like you aren't going to die. And that seems irresponsible a little bit. But I guess there's irresponsibility across all the different religions. So we're not going to just gang pile on voodoo as much as he said he was in a casket. And, he's done some things and seen some things.
On the police post that listen, I turn it down. Yeah. Listen, on trading my gun and register, I shot back in self-defense. Y'all dumb. I shot back in self-defense. You don't think if I did something illegal, I would be in jail? The police put me in the back of the car. Did miss a whole 100 shots though. You know they sick right now. Whoever did it, they sick. One, two choppers, one me. I'm blowing back. I'm trading. They must have thought I was lacking for sure. Bad as hell, bro.
Okay, so, you guys kind of get it, right? He's been shot at. At that specific time, he was saying that it was over 100 shots fired. And that's crazy. I guess when you have like 50 out here, he's glorifying being shot at. I don't know people who glorify being shot at as much as you should probably not be so loud if you're the one shooting, right? Because, that's that law number 4 that people get stuck on. They talk too damn much. But if you keep getting shot at, then maybe people don't like you. And then if people don't like you, why? And I'm not laughing at anything more than I'm uncomfortable. I don't understand it. What? I'm going to tell you right now, if people start shooting at me for the shit that I'm saying online, I probably won't say it like this anymore. I might learn a new language. But this nigga didn't learn a new language. I think he doubled down. I think he doubled down in English and said, fuck y'all. I'm a demigod. Oh yeah, no, actually he did say that. He called himself a demigod. That's another interview that I could show if I figured out how to get all these screens together. But when you out here saying that you not ever gonna die, and then you die, and then your mom who's running your Instagram account posts about you being a demigod and how you're never gonna die, then people say they seen you at Subway the other day. It's like they want to make him Tupac. People say they see Tupac all the time. I don't know if I have the capacity for those types of conversations, because if that person's not dead, then maybe they needed to not be here for some other shit. Like, it's too much. It's like TV and in real life. And real life has always been way more interesting than what they could make up. But I find that a lot of times the things that we learn at home are how we navigate our real life. And then if women like her who think that their job is more important than the lessons that they're teaching the children, I don't know what we do. I appreciate that spirit wonder. I'm just saying, if I were ever being like super disrespectful, first of all, I think my man would already have had something to say before I even said it. And then for 2, maybe he would like disown me. I don't know if I was being like super, super disrespectful. I just think rapping over top of the people that you don't like's graves and then talking all sorts of shit about them, I think that might be a line that got crossed. Because in real time, men will not accept anybody saying things to them, their face. I'm seeing, they say, you shouldn't hit a girl. Okay, but she said some real disrespectful shit. And are we acting like people aren't people? If cops can shoot niggas because they were afraid for their life off of a shadow that wasn't a shadow, then how can you tell me that someone actually provoking someone, on purpose, that the person who was provoked couldn't have got caught up in a human moment? I can't make that type of judgment against anybody at all, and I won't. But I will say that once that happens, then, that's when you start to think about things. Maybe I can't be around this person because they're trying to get me caught up. Or maybe I do something about this person to know that they can't have me like this. You start to think about your plan of action. How are you going to maneuver around this person who can get you to blow up like this? Shit, I mean, some of y'all take anger management classes and start to go to counseling because, you were taught that a man doesn't hit a woman and women are not taught to shut the fuck up. So there's really a toxic situation when you think about it. And inside of the toxicity, well, some bitches don't want to go backwards and do anything different. Not like you can, but just even the thought about it, just no. What? Man, shit. I come from family who has sacrificed to do the things, and I also come from family who, worked and other things happened. I think that that's our story as a Black American. Sometimes we've got some shit that we have to deal with, but do the lessons fall through the cracks? I think they do. I think they fall through the cracks when there's nobody there who gives a damn. And if the person who gives a damn is not from here, then maybe she's teaching him some shit that's not going to help him out over here. You see what I'm saying? Like if grandma is the person who's around, and grandma is Haitian, and nothing against Haitians. I love all melanated people. I just don't like tethers, and I don't like fleas. They make me itch. And tethers make me feel like I'm suffocating, right? But no, I mean, if she is the adult that's in this boy's life and she's teaching him her culture, that's cool. But she's over here. How much of that shit is going to help him over here? Because if she put him in a casket and told him that he's never going to die, and he makes music about being a demigod and about voodoo, and yeah, it could just be entertainment and for entertainment purposes, but his entertainment purposes got his ass killed. It extended past the lyrics on the page and onto real life. And Miss Sandrika's, I don't know. I think adulthood is calling you, because, ma'am, you told Charleston White that he was too old to be talking like how he's talking. And really, Charleston White was only talking to your son like how a man would have talked to him if he had ever been around some men. You're not going to say certain things without getting a consequence. And I don't mean that men are just going to be whooping on people. That's not what I mean. If that was your first thought, then you're probably toxic, or you've been around some toxic women for too long. No, I think that the men know that, a consequence for bad behavior is not going to necessarily be getting smacked or whooped or beat up or anything physical like that. But as boys get older and they turn into little adult males, well, I don't know how you discipline that child outside of doing something that's really going to have a lasting impression on them. Charleston told that boy that he's never talked shit to a nigga that could kill him. And so far, I don't think that he's wrong. Because I guess if he was talking shit to the niggas that killed him, then he's dead. And that actually makes Charleston accurate. But Sandrikas said that Charleston is too old to be out here talking like that and acting like that. And I would say, ma'am, you a little old too. Because both of y'all are older than me by like a decade. And inside of that decade, well, I find that my upbringing is a little more similar to Charleston's than it is to yours, because my parents weren't teaching nothing about no voodoo as much as they said, when your ass leaves this house, you are a representation of us and this family and this household, and you bet not. And then they gave me that look. And then you don't have no problems at it. Eve is an angel. But maybe y'all some little badasses out here. Y'all go temper tantrum at the grocery store if you don't get the bag of chips. I think that. This is a, Miss Sandricus, and like I said, I don't know if this is the type of woman that is going to be passing down some of things that I learned as a child, because we're just going off the first thing that I've learned about the elders in her life. They teaching voodoo stuff, and that's cool. But you see this? She was shot 8 times. So if you can get shot as the mama, not doing nothing to nobody, and remember, she's a nurse, right? So she's actually helping the community, and she gets shot 8 times. That y'all got a cousin. I know you got a cousin, brother, sister, somebody who, got into some trouble and they had to go down south for the summer, or had to go up north for the summer, or had to go somewhere for some period of time because it's a little hot where they're from. You don't? That's just me. I mean, damn, tonight just must be anecdotal night for Eve, because I don't think Charleston White is Jesus. I don't think that nigga is the Messiah. But when I listened to his interview about Miss Foolio's mom, Mrs. Mom of Foolio, and how she just, well, I think what really did it for me was the fact that she's got a documentary coming out. And I can't think like that. If my baby was murdered, I don't know if I'm thinking about a documentary. I don't know if I'm posting on their Instagram. I don't know if I'm doing interviews. There's a lot of shit that I just don't know that I would be doing if my baby got murdered. And damn it, if I was shot 8 times, you think my ass is still gonna be in Jacksonville? And shit, if I'm shot 8 times, are y'all gonna be like, are y'all gonna say, Eve, what was you doing? Who did you make mad? Right? Because it just seems like if you really were a casualty, then, well, do we do that? Do we have a lot of casualties of gang violence in the Black community? I know the mainstream media tries to tell us that happens, but I've heard you guys. Y'all have told me that is some shit that the media just spends because Black on Black crime. I have family that, had to go down south because it was a little hot up home because of the stuff that they were into. I think that when the going gets tough, we don't flee, but we do take into consideration our environment. Shit, you got a crackhead, somebody in your family, they had to go to rehab or something and get away from the drugs. That's getting away from the bad environment. A lot of times they have to go back home though, so then it's like, are they gonna be able to make it, even though they got to go back to the bad environment that they just left from to get clean? I don't know. Actually, I do know. If you are familiar with like AA or NA or any of them steps program, they tell you that you actually can't, or you shouldn't. It's not recommended to go back to the environment where you were being abusive to, whatever it was, because it would just help for the relapse. You kind of need to start fresh. But you can't run away from your problems either, because in real time, you will go find that place and your new place and then be all up in the bad stuff all over again. She said that she didn't know about her son's things, but then she also says that she knew about her son's things. She says that she's at work and she doesn't have time for this street behavior. But I don't know. I just was on her Instagram for a little bit, and the music she's playing and the background of her videos, I'm not going to play them because I don't want copyright strikes tonight. But I don't know. Did y'all mama listen to this music? Is it just the times that we're in right now? Is mamas is listening to trap music? I get it. Get it sexy. Yeah. Get it sexy. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know. Maybe my parenting style is a little old. Some of y'all let your daughters out the house looking all sorts of hoe. And some of y'all, don't. It's a time and a place, Once they start showing certain signs of things, then as the parent, you're supposed to pick up on these things and then adjust. Right? When his father was murdered, I don't know that she should have been, initially like out in the streets trying to find a replacement. But damn it, if it doesn't mean like, yo, you're going to have to do some work now. But if she just passed it off to her mom or his grandma, because she was at work, because working is more important, and then you still get shot, Miss Sandriga's maturity is calling on line 1. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I think as a mom, I probably would have packed me and my baby up and moved. Because what am I getting shot for? I go to work. I'm helping y'all's mamas with the paperwork. I'm helping people get jobs and certifications. And what the fuck I look like getting shot at because your ass is out here rapping these things that she doesn't condone, that she's been supporting since he was 16. Everything that she said has been like either lie after lie or just very hypocritical. She doesn't know about his street behavior, but she's been supportive of his rap career since he was 16, taking buses to ATL. And you know what? My parents wouldn't have allowed that either. Me or my brother. Would y'all parents have allowed that? Y'all are up and coming artists. You're going to take a bus to Atlanta or to, a big city for concerts and parties at 16 by yourself. Maybe you got some people with you, but not with her. I don't know that she's there because remember, she's at work. She's working. Charleston said that his mom, she saw the error in how much she was working when her sons got caught up in a damn murder rap charge. So that when she had another baby, their sister, she took an early retirement so that she could be home with her. Some of y'all get jealous when that happens. Your parents didn't do the things for you, but they did it for your younger sibling. But, I find that the ones of you who don't get jealous and who can look at that as, a growing period phase for your parent, that's pretty big. So yeah, I know we don't like Charleston necessarily, but I mean, when you take the costume off, and no, he didn't take the costume off for the conversation. He had it on, but I think it was an homage to Dr. Umar. When you take the character off the man, he was spitting some real shit on that interview. And I know that Black women wanting to live their lives, especially if they don't have a man that's guiding, leading, or holding them accountable, that is a crop that is ripe for picking, which is why racism, white supremacy has their claws in them so deep. The fangs are out, and these women are pretty much sheep. So whether it's Section 8, their job, or any other thing that would cause them not want to be at home taking care of and tending to the little minis that they've birthed, I have to ask myself, is this the takeover? Because the takeover is when Black America doesn't exist anymore because it's a bunch of other niggas in America. You know, Black America only exists as long as we're the ones talking about it, because if we don't, then we will turn into one big nigga. And when the one big nigga happens, then we will not be owed reparative debt from the country. We will not have a story that's worth telling because everybody will have already stolen the aspects of it that they liked and then dumped all of their shit. I think that it's a takeover if we don't have conversations like we've had tonight, where, you know, we got to be honest about our role in our demise. And I just mean as a melanated person, not as a lineage delineation aspect. Just as people, black, white, purple, brown, or other, after you have a baby, it's not about you anymore. So if you're saying that your job is more important than the lessons that you're going to teach the baby, then maybe you don't need to be having no babies. And I know we're in an election year and there's people on the ballot who say that you're going to have these babies. And there's people on the ballot that say, no, kill them all. And I just have to ask myself, who are these people? And where are they coming from? And why are they trying to take over? Because the takeover is real. The takeover is the fact that since 1929, there have been the same number of electoral college seats. That is the other people who vote for the president, right? And that's based on the amount of state representatives from each state. And the amount of representatives are based off of the state numbers. So in a time like now where the borders are being raped and pillaged and the country's numbers are growing exponentially, I have to ask myself, this takeover that comes with fuckboy behavior and hostile tendencies and spiritual practices that might work better in a different land because it is of that land. You know, I just have to ask myself, why don't I hear anybody talking about this shit? But I do hear some people talking about the delineation and how they're not like us and they not us, and that's cool. But what are we gonna do about it? Because like you've learned tonight, you know, these raps, these disses were extending off the paper, off the sound waves, and into bullets that were actually harming people. From Foolio's mama to himself, that niggas is getting shot off of words. But we get stuck on conversations. And I'm not saying you need to be going out here shooting people off of words, but some things are a lot easier. I mean, really, like, I think the process to go get a weapon, if you don't have one right now, you know, you would have to make sure that you're in a state that you can even have one. And then what the laws are for carrying one. And then, you know, pass a background check some places. I think if you go like the gun show, though, I don't think they have all these requirements. So maybe hit up like an antique gun show or something. Outside of that, we are existing in a time where it's a lot easier to do a more simple thing, like stay your ass home for the presidential election, because there's nobody on the ballot speaking to our reparative debt, our reparative justice, or anything tangible specifically for us. But there are tangibles on the ballot for other people. And if Mr. Foolio's mom and grandma come from somewhere else, and maybe her experience of having to just deal with whatever shit until it gets good. She's like, if I went through it, my son can go through it, and he's not a girl. You know, girls get raped and stuff, not like boys don't, but you know, girls, we're supposed to be more dainty and not able to experience a lot of bad stuff before it breaks us. Different than a man, it's supposed to take a lot more to break you guys, right? But maybe she said that her life experience didn't break her. So whatever he's doing, it ain't that bad because at least they not where they used to be. And then grandma puts a little voodoo hex on him and says, you're going to be all right. And then he says, oh, I'm a demigod. Now I get to be extra disrespectful because fuck y'all. My grandma said I'm safe. You know, grandma, she got them words, right? Y'all know grandma can tell you some things and she can make all the boo-boos get better. But to what end? I mean, because she's told that nigga he can say and do whatever he wants because he is Haitian. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say whatever I want because I am a nigga with culture over these Akatas or whatever derogatory name that Haitians would call us. You know, I just have to ask myself these questions. And I wonder, do y'all give a damn about these questions? Because if you did, I think I'd see more people saying that they're not going to write in somebody. Every person I've seen who said that they're going to write in somebody on the ballot doesn't get it because it's a stronger move, a stronger symbol if niggas don't show up. Can you imagine the news outlets that are going to be showing the ballot boxes and polling precincts and there are no niggas in line? Can you imagine what type of symbol that would be? Y'all love the symbols. I'm just trying to figure out, why do y'all have to show up? Why can't you do something else that day? I mean, you get the time off. Go to the movies. Catch a matinee. Go spend some money because we know that's burning a hole in your pocket. And don't write somebody in. Don't go write in Kanye, Barney Rubble, or the Tooth Fairy. Trying to tell you, when we're dealing with the takeover, if you participate in their shit, they're gonna say you asked for it. Last election, white people said they stole the election, and they probably did. We won't know because there's too many of y'all niggas participating in it to say definitively. But if we didn't participate, how are they gonna fudge the numbers then? How are they going to say that black people won them the vote when there were no niggas at no precincts, no polls? We weren't there. No, they'd have to blame it or give the grace to a different demographic. But what they'll find out and what y'all will find out, what we've been saying, is that nobody else votes in the numbers that we vote. You got the white people, you got the black people, and then these other people on the inside, they don't vote like how we vote. They don't have to. They're already getting shit for free. And don't be a person who's not even allowed to vote, goddammit, because they're getting extras. But before I go into a whole nother topic, let me leave y'all with this. When you don't know the people around you, you probably should start asking some questions. And when the answers to the questions are uncomfortable, maybe you take a pause. You know, we've got to pause. Every Sunday we pause with the minis and we talk to them about the shit. And yes, I don't curse. I don't do that for the minis. But you guys, y'all got to snap out of it. The babies who join us on Sunday school ask thoughtful questions about what they see. And then we have an opportunity to give it to them in a way that they can digest it. But you guys don't even want to ask questions. You would just hear no evil, see no evil, think no evil. Ignorance is not bliss, niggas. Learn something.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
I know y'all be like, what information are they trying to keep from us, Eve? They're not talking about Julio in school, but they kind of are, right? If your babies are listening to current trending music, then maybe they've come across a Julio rhyme, lyric, or rap. I mean, if it's catchy music, it's got a catchy beat. If it's playing on these sound waves and systems and such, it's almost impossible for you to keep the shit out of your home. However, when you are paying attention to what's being brought into the home, then you can start a conversation with them, put it to them in a way that they can understand. For example, Mark Essex's birthday just passed this week, and a lot of y'all don't know who that was. But the mainstream media has labeled him the New Orleans sniper because back in the day, he took out some cops for being racist pigs that they are. And, you know, when we start to fight back, they start to say that we're all sorts of villains and such. But at Sunday school, we can give Mark an appropriate respect on the sacrifice. Because not only did he sacrifice by taking out racists in his area, but he sacrificed for the country because he was in the Navy. And to fight for the country that is actively shitting on you, that's a whole other conversation for another day. But tonight, you know, from Julio to Foolio, you know, the takeover in rap, the takeover in our land, the takeover with the stories. I think if you're comfortable with that, then that's the side of the fence that you're on. But if you're uncomfortable with that, you have to do something about it. You know, hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. That only works if you don't be around evil. But how do you do that, right? We live in Babylon is what they say. So if you can't not be around evil, you got to be prepared. You have to pay attention to your surroundings, and you got to ask questions. So I'm going to keep asking questions. And Spirit Wonder, I'm going to hold you to it. You said I got fighters in the chat, so I should never have to worry about my words affecting someone in a way that would make them want to shoot at me in real life. I mean, unless they're barbell. You know, the Broke Authority, he don't like me too much right now. But I guess that's also another conversation for another day. Y'all have a good night. Black first.